Welcome everybody to another Voice of Nick show. We're doing more of our Posthomerica artwork, and I keep saying this, but this time I'm pretty sure we're gonna finish this picture. So, or not the picture, but the first pass. So we will merge. Oh, I see. It's gonna merge the actual groups. I don't think we want to do that. What can we do instead? I guess we could just put this group in that group. Yeah, that's fine. Oh wait, but it has to go above it. Okay. This snapping tool really gives me trouble a lot of times, but in this particular scenario it helps a lot with like making sure that things are level with each other when we duplicate them. Okay, so one more duplication is probably going to be, well, that's going to be more than enough. Let's just move this over. And for some reason, there's no background layer on this one. It's not that there's no background layer, it's that, I see. This needs to be above the other layers. There you go. Yeah, and that fits pretty much exactly from side to side. Let's maybe just cheat it a tiny little bit so it perfectly fits. And yeah, now the Trojan horse has like wheels that it rolls on. That's the concept behind this geometric pattern, is that the bottom is all wheels so that they could roll it out onto the into the city. I never really understood as a kid how the Trojans could fall for, you know, the ruse of the Trojan horse. But it wasn't until later that I, you know, when I actually understood what's going on in Greek mythology and Greek customs that allowed me to understand it. Because within Greek, ancient Greek culture, and you know, a lot of cultures actually, basically the Greeks pretend that they left the island, or they left the area of Troy. Like all their ships are gone. It looks like they packed up and left, and they left this this big offering, like a gift, to give to the city. And I always thought as a kid, like, why would the Trojans, you know, be tricked by that? Why would they think like, oh, these people who have been at war with us just gave us a gift, like, let's take it. But what it is that the Greeks, they described it, they left one guy there who they, like, you know, came up with this whole plan where it's like he was left behind because he did something wrong or whatever. And, you know, he's made to look like he's like all disgruntled, like, oh, you know, screw them, I don't care about them. I'll tell you what they were planning and everything. And he basically says that they left this horse as an offering to Athena or to whatever gods, for a safe journey home. So this is like their religious offering. And it is suggested, as I always thought was the best way to do it, was like, why wouldn't you just burn it or destroy it or cut it open and see if there's, not that they would expect there's anything inside, but why would you take it at face value? It is suggested by multiple characters, I'm pretty sure, that it should be destroyed or at least inspected. But because it is described by the Greeks, the ingenious part of their plan and sort of also blasphemous part of their plan is that they say that it's an offering to the gods. And so the Trojans can't, by the rules of their culture, cannot destroy a religious offering. So they do take it at face value, assuming that the Greeks would not be so sacrilegious as to, disguise an ambush inside of a holy thing. And that certainly makes a lot more sense than what I always thought of it being as a kid, where it's just like, oh, the Trojans just said like, what a great gift, I can't believe they gave us this gift, and then they immediately get tricked by it and killed. That it makes a little more sense when you realize what the actual story is. So let's just copy these two guys, especially because this is only the initial version of this. We're just going to copy these guys until we have enough. And then in the final, we can, make all our proper adjustments and everything and let each guy be individualized or whatever. They don't even need to be, really. Maybe one more guy can fit in there if we squeeze him in. First of all, let's delete the other guy, because it's definitely not going to fit two guys. This guy's got to tilt forward in order to fit. He's got the short straw seat. When he's at the stadium, the concert, he got the obstructed view seat. Okay, so we will merge these. Yeah, and then for this we will duplicate it and just put it on the lower rung. Maybe we'll leave a couple seats empty to represent, what's happening with, or like the fact that they're still filling up the horse. I would like to also get in somehow another layer of guys. I don't know how to do that though. I think it's fine the way it is. Like I could put a couple of guys like in the horse's legs and stuff, but I don't know, that's probably too much. So these two guys we either want to remove or move. Let's see what happens if they're in the leg. Does that look good? I don't hate it. This also is, maybe we do this and this. I want to see if this, yeah, it's not straight. Okay, good. And then we will take this and put it like that. Yeah, that's correct. What's going on here? Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. And then we want to just sort of thin out the parts that were made by this layer, or is it, yeah, this layer, right. So that'll be that, and then we'll take a couple guys, maybe one of these corner guys, and we'll copy them. And let's see if we can get them in here. Yeah, I guess that's fine. No, you know, I think it's better to have the legs and the head, because those are the only like conspicuously blank areas in this whole picture. Everything else is just absolutely packed with stuff. And the fact that these are blank means that you really read them a lot more. Your eye is obviously drawn to the areas that are not completely busy with imagery. And the legs and head is what tells you it's a horse. So I think we are in the right track with this. Okay, so now we have the entire picture laid out. Stand by. So since we have this whole thing, let's clean up our layers. Don't need that anymore. We're gonna put all these in a box. Let's save it. We gotta remember to save it. We can merge these guys now. Or I guess we don't have to, we'll just put them in a thing. And then we will not merge, but put these in a folder, and this whole folder is the underdrawing. Now we play the game. Now we actually make the picture. Yeah, let me study really quick some of the techniques used. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really just gonna be black. Every red thing is just gonna be traced with black, and that's the whole process. So first let's get the black color. We've been using the same shade of black, which is not it looks black, but it's a like really a dark gray. It's not usually a good idea when you're making any kind of art to use pure black. Yeah, you can see that this is a little bit gray. Because you always want there to be the ability for something to be a little bit darker than whatever your black is, in case, you know, for a number of reasons, really. So we're going to turn this down, and we're literally just going to trace our picture. Man, where do you start, huh? I suppose we'll start with the horse. We'll really turn the bones up for this too, because if we're only drawing lines, it's like we want them to be pretty straight. And it's easy to say, like, looking at what we're doing here, which is essentially just redoing the work we already just did, it's easy to say, well, why didn't we just use black with the original drawing, and then we would have been done by now, because what we just did would have been finished. But the point is, you don't want to have to make final decisions when you're still coming up with the concepts. So like we want to be able to make really quick and dirty changes that don't have to look good and can have like, really gross looking edit marks all over the place and not have to worry about making it kind of all fit together and stuff when we're in the stage of like concepting. So it's always faster and easier and also way more creative to just resign yourself to like, okay, I'm going to do this over again better. So now, and that's very freeing mentally, because then you can be like, okay, I'm just gonna completely go crazy with this picture and not worry about, what kinds of like ugly lines I'm making or what types of choices I'm making. Like, look at that, that's not nice looking at all, but it will be when we do the regular one. But in the meantime, we were able to come up with the concept really quickly by not having to worry about if it looks good. So things like the human figures we're probably going to do with a less rigid brush. But for this type of stuff, all these straight lines, this brush really helps us out. Because as long as you keep your hand sort of partially straight, it kind of tool assists to make it, it starts to understand like, oh, you're trying to draw a straight line, and then it'll straighten it as you draw it. Let's make this geometric as well. Okay. I don't love this concept that we have where it's like, maybe if we do it like this, where this is kind of like a transitional zone, and then these two are straight. Yeah, that works better, I think. Good. Okay, good. It's gotta be further down. Good. Okay. Let's see how this would be if we did it like this. Yeah, this pencil's too, it's too, I don't know what you call it, but it doesn't work for this, so we'll do those figures later. We'll put the inner outlines in, I guess. Actually, maybe we should put that on its own layer, some of these outlines. Good. It's very relaxing to do this kind of stuff because we already did all the thinking. Now we just execute the plan. We just trace our own drawing. Nothing to worry about, nothing to solve really. Just making lines. Okay. Now, we're going to make another layer because we... See, I don't know how this is going to work though. Okay, so let's see if we can do this. Maybe we'll do it kind of like printer style. And we'll have to correct a little bit of the, it's sort of warped looking. All right, for this we kind of have to turn this down though. you don't really need to be as exact as I'm being here. I'm getting too caught up in the weeds. But if we do this well once, then we don't need to do it any other times because it's a repeating pattern. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think this would need to change though, this here. Okay, good. Now we'll put our zebra pattern on it. See, sometimes based on the direction you're holding the pencil, it'll make the line really thick. And we're not looking for that. I think I can turn that off, but there is kind of a charm in getting like accidentally thick lines sometimes. Because it does force you to accept that it's like a handmade picture, you know, it looks more handmade that way. Okay, so that's one of the repeating patterns. Let's just get rid of the guide layer for a second. Yep, looks good. Now we'll duplicate it. Oops. Okay, we'll go like that. Great, it fits perfectly. We'll duplicate it again. And we can see here that we might just want to thicken the upper outline thing. Now it's getting a little crooked. That works still. Okay. All right, so let's take everything. Oops. We're going to take everything that won't fit on the page and just take it out. Then we'll turn the guides back on. And since you can see here that it's a little bit skewed, or rather too short, just in general, we're gonna adjust it. So first let's tilt this tiny bit. Now we have this, it starts in the right spot, but it doesn't end in the right spot. So all we gotta do, yoink, do a little stretch, make sure it still works there. Done. Great. So this is a little bit more of like a exacting process, but you know, it's rewarding because we get really good lines out of it. Really clean looking design. Let's try a similar thing with this where we're gonna just make one triangle and then we'll duplicate it instead of trying to like get them all to match up. Can't get this to... Next time we should put the dots on a different layer too, because they don't really merge that well with the actual picture. So we're gonna have to like erase them out. But if we put them on a different layer, we could just, you know, delete that layer afterwards. Okay, so let's take out the guides for a second and just see how this looks. Yeah, that's great. That's pretty much exactly what we want. Good. All right, and then we can take this. None of that stuff I don't think is on this layer, so if we just copied and pasted this Yeah, it's just the triangle. Let's see what the guide layer is doing. Because I think, yeah, the triangle will sit differently in this, but that's fine. And we can always do, oh, this is kind of cool if we did like that. And then that matches our original thing. Okay, so how do we do this? I think we would get rid of that, and then we would get rid of this. Yeah. Right, that is correct now. Let's merge these back down into the main picture. And we will match this to the edge. Good. Okay, so now we're getting a finalized image, and I'm really enjoying this art style, so I'm pretty happy. Ladies and gents, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you for joining. The channel is called The Voice of Nick. If you want to see more, don't forget to hit the follow button, and I'll see you